Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow, versus Meren of Clan Toth. Now, if we get into a green source, if we get into a blue source, I imagine our opponent will want green sources. Yeah, if we get blue, then we're okay there. We are on the draw, so we've got a couple of chances to get into blue. We can get down Tormented Soul in the hope that we draw blue. Worst case scenario, we just go for Viscera Seer. Sack Viscera Seer to itself. Yeah, there's nothing else we can do other than that with this hand, so we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed. Meren of Clan Toth is a card I play on the channel every now and then. That is 4 mana for a Golgari commander, 3/4. Whenever another creature dies that you control, you get an XP counter. At the beginning of your end step, choose a creature in your graveyard. If its CMC is less than or equal to the number of XP counters you have, return it to the battlefield, otherwise put it into your hand. Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow, is a 1/3, commanding ninjutsu of 2 in Demir. Whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library, put it into your hand, and each opponent loses life equal to the CMC of the card you revealed. We'll definitely say yes to that. We did get into our blue source, as you can see. We'll go for Cloud of Fairies, because that is a free spell. And then even if something happens to Tormented Soul, we can at least swing in with Cloud of Fairies next turn. As for right now, we're going to get in our Yuriko. And there we go, we've got a full grip there. We can pass over the turn and maybe set up with a Lindul's Vault next turn, get something big on top of our library. Depends entirely on if our opponent decides to put a blocker in our way right now. They might have some spot removal for us. Opting not to do anything, they may have a Putrefy or something of that nature. We get into another source of mana. That is good. I think we can just play the Reliquary Tower so that we don't have to discard anything. Although discarding once in filth wouldn't be terrible. Let's just see if we can swing in without our opponent blowing anything up. They're going to kill Yuriko here. Now I'm actually alright with that because we can just bounce the Cloud of Fairies and get Yuriko straight back out. So that's actually fine. And then we can get out Tormented Soul in order to get Yuriko down again next turn if anything happens to her. Alright, Mystical Tutor we can't cast anyway, so we'll go for Tormented Soul. We'd like another blue source preferably. Black Sun Zenith for 1 just gets rid of the Tormented Soul. I'd obviously rather keep that in play, but it's not the end of the world. We do have Viscera Seer to take Yuriko off the field. And we also just get into another unblockable, which is really good. We'll get down Cloud of Fairies. And then we'll get down the Viscera Seer. And we can sacrifice the Yuriko for next turn. Yeah, how about we go for a Kite Sail Freebooter as well. Just have a look at our opponent's hand and see what they've got for us. Okay, they have Sakura Tribelder is really good in Meren decks. Murder and Damnation. They can actually cast Damnation next turn, so let's just force them to use Murder instead. Now they can murder the Kite Sail Freebooter if they want to, but we're certainly not going to play out all our creatures into a board wipe, so we'll just hold up Mystical Tutor. Maybe we can get a negate with that. Yeah, they do indeed go for Murder onto the Kite Sail Freebooter. So it looks like they're aiming for a Damnation next turn. And they drew into Nykthos. We will sacrifice Yuriko and get a scry off with Viscera Seer. I'm not too worried about another black land, so we'll definitely Mystical Tutor then. Shuffle that away. And we'll get into a negate for this damnation that's coming down. Now we could Limdul's Vault and put a blue source on top of our library to play this turn. That way we're going up a land and we're also holding up negate for next turn. I think I like that. Actually, no, we can't do both, can we? We can't get down Yuriko and hold up the negate. Yeah, so I think we just go for the Limdul's Vault then. We'll stack our library. We'll have to wait a turn. We couldn't get down Yuriko because we're stuck on mana. So we'll get into another blue source next turn. I was thinking that I could get down Yuriko and Limdul's Vault there, but we obviously only have one piece of blue mana. I don't think they're going to Damnation here. They go for Viridian Emissary, so that thing cares about dying. And Sakura Tribe Elder as well is something that we would preferably not contend with in a Meren deck. But we'll have a tough time exiling it because it does have an instant speed sack outlet stitched to itself. Let's go in for our Limdul's Vault in response to that. No, we'll pay life for that. Don't care what order it goes in. Wow, no blue. Still no blue. Well, there is a Verdant Catacombs though. I don't mind Tetsuko. If our opponent's going to start getting creatures out, yeah, we'll go with that. So we'll go Swamp, Wasteland, Telling Time. We'll draw into the Verdant Catacombs, and then we'll reveal Tetsuko off the Yuriko trigger. Our opponent plumps for a swamp. I'm surprised they did that. I would have thought they'd gone for a forest because we have Urborg in play. Maybe they're... Well, I don't think they'd be planning on destroying it, but you never know. We will go in for the Cloud of Fairies. And we are going to bounce the Cloud of Fairies and get Yuriko in play. That will give us the Tetsuko. And then we are safe to Verdant Catacombs for a blue source. And then we deal combat damage with Yuriko. We reveal the Tetsuko. And now we'll go in for our Underground Sea, I think it's called. Our dual land. We will get down Cloud of Fairies, I think is safe. We'll cast Cloud of Fairies and then we can untap our two blue sources. And that will allow us to hold up a negate. And we can also cheat in Yuriko again if we don't feel as though we want to swing into anything our opponent has. Just playing around the damnation still currently. Our opponent may have forgotten that we have a negate in hand. They do know about it because we went for it with Mystical Tutor getting down a Meren, so we definitely don't want to swing into that. And then a +1/+1 counter on Meren from the Oran Reef of Vastwood, or Oran Reef the Vastwood. And opting not to swing in with the Viridian Emissary. And getting back Sakura Tribe Elder, they're going to be able to start getting out experience counters with that Sakura Tribe Elder. It's really, really good in Meren. Probably the best card in Meren, actually. And just thinking about it now, we're probably best just getting down Tetsuko as opposed to... Oh, we get into a land, which is good. Yeah, we'll get down Tetsuko. I was thinking about sacrificing Yuriko to the Viscera Seer and then doing a little Cloud of Fairies. A little Cloud of Fairies thing again. But we can just make all of our creatures unblockable if we get down Tetsuko. Oh, and I should have bounced in the Mistblade Shinobi there. Yeah, that's... Well, actually, no. No, yeah, that's fine. I knew there was a reason for it. I was just thinking we should have got down Mistblade Shinobi there, but that would have tapped out our last piece of blue mana. And we do want to hold up this negate. So scratch that. My initial thought was the right one. Yeah, next turn we can look at getting down Filth, although we don't need it because Tetsuko is in play. Yeah, so scratch that. We'll just hold back on the negate. We're not doing too much damage to our opponent, but we are gaining incremental card advantage. Okay, Demonic Tutor might have something to say about all this. They could go for a Toxic Deluge and then Damnation next turn. No, they look like they've just gone for Skull Clamp. We're going to allow that because it is just the Damnation that we're worried about. We can get all our creatures through, so it almost doesn't matter what they do. They may get into spot removal for Tetsuko. I keep talking about Tetsuko and I don't think I've described what it does. Creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. That is a 1/3 for 2 mana. Out comes Sakura Tribe Elder again, and this will be the second experience counter. Be intrigued to see if they just go for a land or if they clamp it. Yeah, with that many lands in play I would probably go for a clamp as well. And that is 2 experience counters onto Meren. And that means that they can just get down their Sakura Tribe Elder again at the end of this turn, and then they can sacrifice it for a land if they want to get another experience counter. Getting back the Viridian Emissary. Ah yeah, because that does both, doesn't it? Sakura Tribe Elder can only get a land if it sacrifices itself, but Viridian Emissary gets a basic land from dying. So yeah, that is the right thing to go for when you've got a Skull Clamp in play. 5 cards in our opponent's hand now, and I don't think they've got the Hissing... They do have the Hissing Quagmire down, so we know about only 1 card in their hand, and that is the Damnation. The other 4 cards we don't know about. Demonic Tutor. Unfortunately can't get down Demonic Tutor and Arcane Adaptation. That would be 5 mana. Yeah, and we couldn't hold up Negate as well there. I might just go for Swan Song, actually. Let's go for our own Demonic Tutor. We don't care about the bird that comes in with Swan Song because our stuff can't be countered now anyway. Or can't be blocked, I should say. It most certainly can be countered. Yeah, we'll just hold those up. Be good to get into some more blue mana. Deal 4 damage to our opponent here and then hopefully flip into something good. Yuriko only triggers once because only one of these things is a ninja. Well, there's a blue source. That means we can Mistblade Shinobi next turn if we want to. Why don't we just go for Invisible Stalker right now? Invisible Stalker, and then Negate and Swan Song can both be held up. Yeah, I think that's alright. What we typically want to do with this Yuriko deck is stack the top of our library with things like Mystical Tutor and Skull Clamp, with Scroll Rack and things like that. There is a Beast Within. Don't think we can allow that to happen. We'll just have to go for a Swan Song on that. They're probably just trying to draw out the Damnation. So perhaps should have used Negate on that Beast Within. Yeah, they go for Skull Clamp again. They know that we have the Negate, so I think they're correctly playing around it. They may have other board wipes like Toxic Deluge and Black Sun Zenith, which is probably what they are aiming to draw into. They can clamp the bird, but they don't have a sack outlet, I don't think. Just looking around the board, I don't think they do. Unless they're looking for Damnation now, they are. We finally get that out of our opponent's hand. And now 5 cards left in our opponent's hand, 3 experience counters. And they only have 1 mana up currently. I don't know if they've played a land this turn or not. No, they just decide to quit there. We would have drawn into a land. And then Yuriko, we would have got down Mistblade Shinobi as well next turn. So we flip into another land. And free mana. So we wouldn't actually have dealt any more damage to our opponent. So after that, Mistblade Shinobi does not draw us a card. So then we would have drawn into Personal Tutor, and the next, so not next turn, but the turn after, we could have stacked the top of our library with Mystical Tutor and definitely got the damage through there. Not the greatest game to show off what you want to do with Yuriko, but we got unblockable creatures through. Shows how good Tetsuko is in the deck. This is an auto-include in Yuriko, in my opinion. But yeah, as for getting into effects that can stack the top of your library, we got Limdal's Vault, which we unfortunately had to use for mana fixing. And Mystical Tutor we had to use to keep our opponent off the damnation, so using those tutors in a more typical fashion, as opposed to using them in the fashion that we would like to in this deck usually. But we played a good control game and managed to get the win, so hopefully you all enjoyed that. That was Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow, versus Meren of Clan Nel Toth. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you all very much for watching.